Hello everyone, welcome to the show. Your easy guide to English words you need to know. Let's go exploring far and near.
Welcome to today's deep dive into Shenandoah National Park in Virginia. I am so glad you are joining us to explore this incredible place.
Yeah, it really is a fascinating park, and we have a great stack of sources to guide our conversation today.
We definitely do.
We are pulling from official National Park Service guides. We also read the park's official Black Bear Management Plan, some hiking guides from Backpackers Pantry, and a few historical archives.
Right, and our mission for this deep dive is very clear. We want to give you the ultimate beginner-friendly guide to visiting Shenandoah.
Exactly. We want you to feel completely ready if you have never been there before.
We are going to cover the driving logistics, the best hiking trails, and some vital safety rules.
Plus, we will explore the hidden human history that most visitors walk right past without even noticing.
So let's jump right in.
Let's start with the basic facts to set the scene for you. Shenandoah National Park is massive. It covers 199,000 acres of land. It was officially established on December 26, 1935.
That is a huge area.
It is. But one of the most surprising facts about this huge wild space is its location.
Yes, exactly. When you are standing inside this quiet, green forest, you will not believe how close you are to the city. The park is only 75 miles away from bustling Washington, D.C.
It is a very short drive, but it transports you into a completely different world.
It really does. And once you arrive in that new world, you need to know how to get around.
Right. The most important feature in the entire park is a road called Skyline Drive. If you look at a map of the park, you will see one long road snaking right down the middle.
That is Skyline Drive. It is the only public road that goes all the way through the park. It runs for 105 miles from the north to the south.
And it doesn't just go through the valleys. Skyline Drive is built right along the very top, or the crest, of the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains. You are literally driving high up in the sky.
Because it is the only road, visitors use a very specific system to navigate.
That navigation system is based on mileposts.
Right, the milepost.
A milepost is a small concrete sign standing on the side of the road. Each sign has a number on it. They start at the number 0 in the northern town of Front Royal.
As you drive south, the numbers go up, all the way to 105 at the southern end.
Every map, guidebook, and park ranger uses these milepost numbers to tell you where to find trails, bathrooms, and overlooks.
That brings us to our first lesson in Travel Skills 101. If you are driving on Skyline Drive, there are rules you absolutely must follow. First, the speed limit is exactly 35 miles per hour.
Which might sound incredibly slow if you are used to driving on a fast highway.
It is slow, but there's a wonderful reason for it. The park designers didn't want this to be a fast transportation route.
Right. They wanted the drive itself to be an experience. When you drive slowly, you can roll down your windows. You can actually feel the cool mountain breeze.
You can look out at the beautiful views of the valley, but most importantly, you need to drive slowly to watch for wildlife.
Animals constantly cross this road, so keeping your speed at 35 miles per hour keeps both you and the animals safe.
Another vital driving detail you need to know about is located at milepost 32.2.
Ah, yes. At milepost 32.2, you will encounter Mary's Rock Tunnel. Think about the 1930s when this road was built.
Workers carved a 670-foot-long tunnel straight through the solid rock of the mountain just to make this scenic drive possible.
It is a beautiful piece of engineering.
It is beautiful, but you must pay close attention to the size of your vehicle. The tunnel has a strict height limit, which is called clearance.
And the clearance is exactly 12 feet and 8 inches.
Yes. If you are driving a tall vehicle, like an RV or a big camper, you must be absolutely sure your vehicle will fit. Getting your RV stuck inside a mountain tunnel would definitely ruin your vacation.
That is great advice. There is one more logistical tip before we leave the car. Gas stations are very limited inside the national park boundaries.
Very limited. There's only one place to buy gas on that entire 105-mile stretch.
So you must plan ahead. Fill up your car's gas tank in a local town before you begin your long drive.
Now that we know how to navigate the road, let's talk about getting out of the car and into the woods. Shenandoah is famous for its hiking.
The park has over 500 miles of hiking trails.
That is a massive amount of ground to cover. In fact, 100 miles of the famous Appalachian Trail run right through this park. You can actually walk on the same path that famous long-distance hikers use.
With 500 miles of trails, it can be overwhelming to choose. To help you, we pulled a few specific hikes from the guides. We can break them down by difficulty level so you know exactly what to expect.
Let's start with a couple of easy hikes. These are perfect for beginners, families, or anyone who just wants a relaxing walk.
The first is Bear Fence Viewpoint. It is a very short hike, only 1.1 miles round trip.
But the payoff is huge. After a short walk, you get a stunning 360-degree view of the entire Shenandoah Valley.
Another fantastic easy option is the Fox Hollow Trail. This one is 1.2 miles long. What makes Fox Hollow special is the history.
It is like taking a walk through time. As you walk through the trees, you will see old rock walls and even a historic cemetery left behind by the people who used to farm that land.
Now, if you are feeling energetic and want something a little harder, there are great moderate hikes. A perfect moderate choice is Dark Hollow Falls.
You can reach it by taking the Rose River Loop Trail. The total distance is about 4 miles.
Dark Hollow Falls is very popular because it takes you to a stunning waterfall that drops 67 feet down the rocks.
It is a beautiful sight. However, you need to remember a basic rule of hiking waterfalls. The hike down to the water is easy, but the hike back up to your car is steep and will make you very tired.
It really will. Now, what if you are an expert hiker looking for a serious physical challenge?
The sources highly recommend a trail called the Old Rag Circuit. It is 9.4 miles long, and it is the most famous hike in the entire park.
Old Rag is incredible, but there is a crucial warning you absolutely must know before you go.
Because it is so intensely popular, the park had to create rules to prevent overcrowding. You cannot just wake up, drive to the mountain, and start hiking.
That's right. You must buy a special day-use ticket. The ticket only costs $2.
But the trick is, you must buy this ticket online 30 days in advance. You cannot buy it at the park gate. If you show up without that ticket, the rangers will turn you away.
Old Rag is also famous because the trail involves rock scrambles.
We should probably explain what a rock scramble is.
Good idea. A rock scramble means the trail isn't just a flat dirt path. You literally have to use your hands and your feet to scramble or climb over giant boulders to get to the top.
It is a full-body workout that requires good balance and lots of energy.
Because it takes so much energy, you must be prepared. Whenever you hike in Shenandoah, you need to follow basic safety rules.
First, always bring extra water. You will definitely get thirsty.
Second, pack a mix of snacks. It's smart to bring both sweet snacks for quick energy and salty snacks to replace the salt you lose when you sweat.
You also need to be aware of your surroundings. Our guides remind us that Shenandoah is home to venomous snakes, specifically timber rattlesnakes and copperheads.
They usually try to avoid people, but you must look closely at where you put your hands and feet, especially when climbing on rocks.
You will also need to check yourself for ticks after your hike. These tiny bugs hide in tall grass and can transmit diseases. Doing a quick check of your clothes and your skin is a vital habit.
Moving from the tiny bugs to the larger animals, the wildlife in Shenandoah is a huge draw for visitors. If you are observant, you might see white-tailed deer stepping quietly through the trees.
You might spot a small spotted skunk. If you look closely under wet leaves, you might even find the tiny Shenandoah salamander, which is an endangered species.
But let's be honest, the biggest attraction, the animal most people really want to see, is the black bear.
Bears are a major focus for the park staff. We read through the official black bear management plan to understand how they handle this.
The plan repeatedly uses the terms habituation and being conditioned. This is a critical concept for any visitor to understand.
Let's break that down. Habituation means a bear gets used to humans. Normally, a wild black bear is naturally afraid of humans and will run away.
But if a bear finds human food or digs into garbage left by a camper, it starts to connect humans with an easy meal.
The bear gets used to people. It loses its natural fear. When a bear loses its fear of humans because of food, it is habituated or conditioned.
This creates a highly dangerous situation for both the visitor and the bear. Because of this, the park enforces very strict rules.
In the developed areas, like the picnic grounds or hotel areas, you must throw all your trash into specific bear-proof trash cans. These cans have heavy metal latches that bears cannot open.
And if you are hiking deep into the woods to sleep, which is called camping in the backcountry, the rules are even stricter.
Just to be clear, backcountry means you are far away from the roads and normal campgrounds.
Exactly. You cannot simply leave your food in your backpack or inside your tent. A bear will smell it and tear your tent apart to get it.
The official rule for the backcountry is that you must suspend your food from a tree. You tie a rope to your food bag and pull it up.
It must hang exactly 10 feet high in the air, and it must hang 4 feet out from the trunk of the tree.
This prevents the bear from reaching it or climbing the trunk to grab it. If you don't want to hang your food, you're required to use a special hard plastic container called an approved bear-proof canister.
The sources share a very sad truth about why these rules are so strict. If a visitor ignores the rules and feeds a bear, or leaves a sandwich on a picnic table, it completely changes the bear's behavior.
The bear becomes aggressive and approaches people looking for more food. When that happens, park rangers usually have no choice but to euthanize or kill the bear to keep future visitors safe.
So, feeding bears human food almost always indirectly kills them. Properly storing your food is the most important thing you can do for the animals.
Another very common situation involving bears happens right on Skyline Drive. Is a phenomenon called a bear jam.
It's human nature, right? You are driving along, you spot a black bear in the woods, and you immediately slam on your brakes to get a picture.
Then the car behind you stops. Soon, there are 20 cars stopped, completely blocking traffic in the middle of the woods. This is a bear jam.
It happens all the time, but the absolute golden rule here is simple. Stay in your vehicle.
Do not open your door and get out of your car to get a closer look at a wild bear. Roll down your window, take your picture quickly, and then keep driving so traffic can move. Always respect the wildlife.
Now, after a long day of driving the mountain roads, hiking up waterfalls, and safely watching black bears, you will eventually need a place to sleep.
The park offers many great options right under the stars. There are several main lodging areas depending on what kind of bed you want.
The highest elevation on Skyline Drive is at mile 41.7. Here you will find Skyland Resort, which offers traditional hotel rooms and separate cabins.
Further south in mile 51 is Big Meadows Lodge. The Big Meadows area is wide open and flat, making it famous for being a spectacular place for stargazing at night.
The park also operates 4 main campgrounds where you can park an RV or pitch a tent.
Another really interesting place to sleep is the Lewis Mountain Cabins, located at mile 57.5.
These are cozy, rustic cabins that come with outdoor fire rings, perfect for sitting around an evening campfire.
They really have a beautiful setup for a campfire. But sitting around those fire rings today, it's hard to imagine the deep and often painful social history tied to that specific campground.
The historical archives provide an impartial look at how things used to be in this park. For many years, African-American visitors experienced strict racial segregation in Shenandoah. This segregation lasted until 1950.
When the park was first being planned and built in the 1930s, the official policy of the National Park Service was to follow local state customs.
In Virginia at that time, local custom meant segregation. So the government deliberately built Lewis Mountain specifically as a segregated area. It was constructed as a separate but equal campground and picnic area exclusively for Black visitors.
The archival documents show us exactly how this policy slowly changed over time. The push for change really began during World War II.
In 1945, the government issued a new federal mandate. This federal rule required full desegregation in all national parks across the entire country.
The new mandate meant that all visitors, regardless of their race, should be allowed to stay at Skyland, eat at the main restaurants, and use all areas of the park freely.
However, the archives show that it did not happen overnight. The private company that operated the hotels and dining rooms inside the park, a concessionaire called the Virginia Skyline Company, officially protested the new rule.
They strongly pushed back against integrating the facilities.
There was clearly a period of tension between the federal government's mandate and the private company's business practices, but the records show that progress steadily moved forward.
By the year 1950, all facilities in Shenandoah National Park were fully integrated.
This included the Lewis Mountain area and the main dining room at Panorama. Visitors of all races were finally welcome to enjoy every part of the park together.
It's an important piece of history to remember as you travel freely through the park today. And knowing this history naturally brings us to another fascinating part of the park's past.
When you look at Shenandoah today, it looks like a beautiful, untouched wilderness. You see thick, ancient-looking forests and quiet mountains.
But actually, the land you are walking on has a very deep, hidden human history.
That is correct. Humans have been living, working, and hunting on this specific land for a very long time. Archaeological sources show that Native Americans hunted and gathered in these mountains at least 9,000 years ago.
Much later, European settlers arrived and began farming the rocky foothills in the 1750s.
So if people lived and farmed on these mountains for hundreds of years, why does it look completely wild today? Where did all the farms and the people go?
Our historical sources outline a process called displacement.
To create Shenandoah National Park in the 1920s and 1930s, the state of Virginia and the federal government had to acquire the land. They bought or condemned over 3,000 individual tracts of privately owned land.
As part of this massive land acquisition, the government relocated around 500 families who were living in the mountains.
Many of these families had lived in the mountain valleys, which are called hollows, for generations. Two of the most prominent family names in these historical records were the Corbins and the Nicholsons.
These families were forced to leave their homes, their farms, and their communities so the national park could be established.
After the families were removed, the government wanted the newly acquired area to look completely natural for the tourists. They brought in workers from the Civilian Conservation Corps, often called the CCC.
These young men were instructed to completely dismantle the wooden homes, the barns, and the fences. They literally took the buildings apart piece by piece.
After they removed the buildings, they planted trees and native vegetation directly over the old farms. Their goal was to hide the human history and make the area look like pure, wild nature again.
They did a highly effective job. Today, it mostly looks like a thick, uninterrupted forest.
However, the CCC workers did not destroy absolutely everything. If you know where to look, you can still find the evidence.
For example, if you go hiking today through a place called Nicholson Hollow, you can still see the physical reminders of this past.
Hidden among the modern trees, you will find the ruins of old log buildings, crumbling stone chimneys, and rock walls where these families used to live.
It is truly an amazing experience to be hiking through what feels like wild woods and suddenly find a perfectly built stone wall from a family farm. It really changes how you look at the forest.
It definitely does.
So let's summarize our deep dive for today. You are now fully prepared for an amazing trip to Shenandoah National Park.
You know exactly how to safely drive the 35-mile-per-hour speed limit on Skyline Drive while enjoying the mountain breeze.
You know, you need to buy a $2 ticket online 30 days in advance if you want to scramble over the rocks at Old Drag.
You understand how to properly store your food in bear-proof containers to protect the black bears.
And you have a deep appreciation for the complex human history, from segregation to displacement, of the people who once called this beautiful land their home.
As we close today, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over on your own.
I would love to hear it.
Consider how strange it is that the beautiful, untouched wilderness you see in Shenandoah today is actually a manufactured landscape. That means humans deliberately made it look that way. The government deliberately erased the human history.
Wow.
They tore down houses and planted trees specifically to create the illusion of pure nature for tourists. It really makes you wonder, what does the word wilderness actually mean? Can a place truly be called wild if humans deliberately designed it to look that way?
That is a wonderful and deep question to ponder as you look out over the incredible views of the Shenandoah Valley. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you feel ready to explore the park safely, confidently, and with a new understanding of its past. Have a great adventure out there, and we will talk to you next time.